What we have right now is the Donald Trump retribution process on steroids. And we just have to, as people who believe in this democracy, at some point we're going to have to start a forceful pushback.
That was former chairman of the January 6th Select Committee, Benny Thompson, sounding the alarm to my colleague Ali Velshi on President Trump's retribution tour. Trump has stripped security details for former National Security Advisor turned Trump critic John Bolton, as well as former NIH Director Anthony Fauci, who became a target in MAGA world for contradicting Trump's COVID lies. And in a Friday night massacre, the president fired 18 inspectors general without even notifying Congress, a move that Democrats and even some Republicans say violated the law. And now NBC News is reporting the White House has warned Republican senators to get on board with Trump's nominees or suffer the consequences after Trump's controversial pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth barely won Senate approval. Joining me now is Fred Trump III. He is the nephew of President Trump and author of the book All in the Family, The Trumps and How We Got This Way. Fred, it's great to see you again.
Good to see you.
You and I spoke a few days before the election.
Yes.
And in fact, I want to play for you something you said on the show about the fears that you had if Donald Trump were to win. Watch.
I think what scares a lot of people, there are no, to use the word in vogue, guardrails anymore. Just think of the people that he is now surrounding himself with. There's no General Kelly. There's no General Mattis. There's Stephen Miller and Tom Homan and Rudy Giuliani coming back. That should scare anybody.
And so now we're a week into Trump's term. We're getting a preview, maybe a glimpse of what will continue to happen with this retribution tour. But, what do you think of what we've seen so far in this first week?
It really is no surprise to me and shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We've seen this literally since the day he left the White House. He will go after anybody who is not for him or jumps on board. And what was said there about his cabinet picks, yeah, I mean, they will go out there and primary anyone who goes against his wishes.
Trump has always been a petty man. A lot of people have described him that. But I'm curious to get your thoughts. What other rationale could be applied for why he has stripped the security detail of people whose lives are genuinely in danger, people like John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, Anthony Fauci?
It really comes back to the same thing in my mind. And the interesting one to me is Fauci. I don't remember Fauci coming out there and saying he did a terror. I mean, he is a very thoughtful gentleman.
Yeah.
Bolton may be a different story. He's out there. But Fauci did a great job, has done great work for this country, but it didn't work out for Donald. Some of the blame got assigned to Donald, which I believe rightfully so. Fauci may have even taken the spotlight away from Donald for a while. I mean, he was out there in front every day.
Yeah, let me, in fact, actually, I was going to share this with you. I mean, the danger here for both Bolton and Fauci, in 2022, the DOJ charged a member of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in a plot to kill Bolton, likely in retaliation for the Trump administration's killing of an Iranian general back in 2022. As you were saying, Fauci's been subject to death threats, part of the MAGA conspiracy world. But, let me play for you what he said about this. Watch, about Fauci. Take a listen.
Would you feel partially responsible if something were to happen to, say, Dr. Fauci or John Bolton?
No. They all made a lot of money. They can hire their own security, too.
The question is about their safety and security as people who worked in government and served American interests, including somebody like Bolton who, worked for a Trump administration that killed an Iranian general. Right. And now he's basically throwing them out there on their own saying, hey, you should take care of your own security.
Yeah. And I'll go back to Fauci. I mean, here's a man who dedicated his life's work to saving American lives. OK, how many? I can't tell you. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions.
Yeah.
But he did that. He did it under the radar up until COVID. But his reputation in the circles I travel is pretty. He's an astute, generous with his time and his career helping this country.
Do you think he went after these people because they are high profile and sends a chilling message to others? I mean, do you think this is going to continue with people that are lower names, but people he will still want to go after?
Look,
there's no end to his.
No, there is no. John Bolton's on TV all the time.
Right.
Okay.
And that probably irks him and drives him crazy.
It may.
Yeah.
But John Bolton is out there all the time. Fauci, I don't understand because he's gone off. Maybe he wrote a book. Okay, great.
He's out of the public limelight. He's not talking about you.
No, he's not. So why that has to get stripped, I don't understand. Who knows if Fauci's going to be needed in the future?
Yeah. When you think about the Republicans in Congress right now, you kind of see them all falling by the wayside to back Donald Trump, even with the pardons of January 6th, no spines among any of them. Now you have somebody like Elon Musk with like billions of dollars willing, with the press of a button, to primary and challenge any of these Republicans who may dare to stand up to Donald Trump. So you have this, like, not only this public fear that is being whipped up by Donald Trump, you now have a financial backer who's willing to take those words of Donald Trump and challenge and browbeat anyone who challenges Donald Trump.
Sure. And I'm just waiting for someone in Congress to say, it's worth it to keep my principles primary away.
It's pretty wishful thinking on your part.
I know it's Sunday night. Is it that great to be in Congress? I mean, when someone says they want to stay in Congress and give up their principles, well, maybe they're in it for the money also.
What is it? What is the grip that he has? How do you explain this ability to have a grip over these types of people? I mean, again, you're talking about politicians who, in their own right, are powerful. And they should be some of these Senate members that have been there for years. They have their own followings in their constituencies, and yet Donald Trump has come in and managed to completely overpower them.
Overpower is the word. Yeah. He came out in 2015 as the populist. People bought into it. People love it. And I have to say, as a Democrat, I am waiting for the Democratic response to come out. Get some spine, as you said. Get some spine and stop the whine. We need a leader, first of all, the Democratic Party. It's just hodgepodge right now. And I know we'll wait until the next election cycle. That's too late. Somebody's got to get in there and start fighting back, if you will.
I got to ask you about your own fears and your concerns. If this retribution tour continues, you're doing interviews, you're critical, you have been critical of your uncle. How worried are you about retribution?
I'm not worried about retribution from Donald. And when the book came out, we were concerned, mostly for our kids.
Right.
William, as you know, who has disabilities, is living in a group home for the past couple of years, so he's in a safe zone. He's in a safe zone, and let me just please add this. With the immigration issue coming up, as we all knew it would, anybody who thinks it wasn't going to be front and center was mistaken, obviously. William is cared for, and the tens of millions of the disabled and the complex disabled and the elderly are taking care of people every day of their lives by a vast majority of people that come from other countries.
Yeah.
Do I want those people living in fear, perhaps for no reason whatsoever other than this cause of his and his followers to go after anybody who may not look like them? I think it's reprehensible and can harm people's lives, like Williams, like, again, the tens of millions of disabled people in this country. It's got to stop. I don't know how, but the Democratic Party has got to get its act together and start fighting.
Yeah, I don't think we still comprehend the cost, our societal cost, of what our country would look like if we did not have immigrants part of our society and helping us in our communities.
As we always have.
True, as we always have.